Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. My name is Uriah Hakala, Senior Director of Professional Services here at Kapow Software. Our webinar today is all about big data for sales and how to integrate sources like Salesforce, LinkedIn, Zoominfo, Twilio, and others to help fill your pipeline and drive new sales leads. This is the third webinar in our 30-minute long Kapow Now webinar series. And again, for those of you who haven't been a part of this before, in 30 minutes or less, we're going to show you how you can leverage the wealth of information available on the web and combine it with internal data to generate new sales opportunities and drive top-line growth. A couple logistical items. This session will be recorded, and it's going to be available for on-demand viewing on our website. We do encourage you to ask questions throughout the webinar here in the GoToWebinar window, and we will try to get to as many of them as we can at the end. We'll follow up with you individually just in case we can't get time to answer all of your questions. And one last thing, if you are tweeting today, the hashtag for this webinar series is KapowNow. Our presenter today is Tyler Freeling, Sales Enablement Manager here at Kapow Software. Before I hand over to Tyler, I just want to give a little context for the topic, and it's actually very relevant to us here at Kapow. Every sales organization is looking for new and creative ways to grow their pipeline, accelerate the pace of closing business. And, in my role here at Kapow, I get frequent requests from our sales team about how we can help pull in data from these various sources. How do we find warm leads, and really, how do we convert them quickly? So Tyler's going to help share some examples today of the applications that we use both here at Kapow and elsewhere that have brought significant value to our company. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Tyler to take us through the presentation and a product demo. Tyler.
Thanks, Uriah. Yes, so we've been using Kapow internally to really make our sales team much more efficient and to automate some of the processes that seem to be consuming a lot of our sales reps' time. And a lot of this work is all done in prospecting, where I'm basically doing research on your opportunities and your leads before you make the first contact. So our problem isn't siloed to Kapow, right? We think this is an expansive problem that happens across all different sized companies and all sorts of different sized teams. And we're not alone. CSO Magazine recently did a survey, and they basically confirmed what Uriah says and what we've experienced locally in Kapow. From their survey, they found that on average, a sales rep would use 15 different data sources to do research or to manage their day-to-day work, managing and tracking opportunities and leads. That would include doing Google searches, going to Business Week, going to Zoominfo, LinkedIn. All those sites are one of these 15 sites that people have to manage day to day just to do the prospecting piece of their sales job. And typically, it's about 3 hours at least a week for every 3 leads. So that's almost an hour a lead that people are doing, just basic, redundant research. And we think we can automate that. And we'll walk through a couple of examples of how we do it internally. So what's the problem? Well, 80% of the salespeople that responded to the survey have expressed a problem just managing all these different sites and all this information coming downstream to them. It's an influx of data that a salesperson just can't manage without tools and assistance. And we think Kapow is a great solution to organize that and to filter out all that noise and provide detailed information that the sales rep needs without losing the value of the internet or any of the applications that the salesperson needs to use. So what's the real critical problem? And this is very alarming. Even if it's not 90%, even if it's 55%, it's still very alarming. And the problem is that salespeople are saying, I'm doing so much time doing this research, managing these web applications, managing my internal applications, that I'm losing the opportunity to close business. I'm losing the opportunity to build relationships. There's only so much time in a week that a salesperson can put aside to do their job. And if they're spending too much time doing the prospecting or managing data sources, then they're obviously losing time closing business. So what if? What if you had a solution that you could automate the sales process of your best top-selling salespeople? What if you could have a system embedded into your organization quickly, and that just basically did a lot of the lead qualification, the lead retrieval, and the harvesting of information for you. Then all that information, all that time that's spent and needed for the prospecting process could be done behind the scenes. It could be done in the engine and applied within your process accordingly. Now, obviously, all that time that was done previously can now be set aside and replaced with good quality sales time. People will not be rewarded or punished for not being able to prospect, but they'll have more time and be rewarded by closing business and doing sales, which is really what you want out of your salespeople. So how does Kapow fit into this problem? Well, the first demo we'll walk through, we call it the automatic lead generator. And it's pretty straightforward. What it does is it automates a process that we saw in use at a customer site. And it works really well. And basically, it automates the entire prospect and delivers qualified warm leads to representatives in near time without user intervention. So what does it do? It does a number of things. But the first place it starts is going to an SEC website. So the scenario that we were automating is a real estate company that needs to provide leads of affluent users to their salespeople so that they can call them and suggest buying a vacation home or making an investment into a second or third home or property or a hard asset like real estate. So the Caplet, which is an application that's hosted within Kapow, goes out to the SEC website and grabs all the filings that occur every day. And there's about 1,000 of those. And what it does is it sifts through those 1,000 filings every day looking for people who have sold insider trade stock options. And what that does, that gives the Kapow tool a name, a company, and a dollar amount, as well as a strike price, and an estimation of how liquid a person has become recently. So what do we do with that? Well, that's a great data set as it is. And that only took about 3 hours for us to configure. But what we need to do is we need to build upon that. We need the contact information, which we go out to Zoominfo to retrieve. And then what we also want to do is use the Google to go out and find as much information as possible about this particular person. Why do we do that? Because when we build a relationship, we need to know who we're calling onto, right? We just don't cold call people and say, you know, hey, do you want to buy a vacation home? We want to have some information about where they're living, who they are, what stage of their life they're in, and what their career has been like, and where it might go. So we use Google to do that. And we call Google, and then we've configured Kapow to retrieve all the Google results and find the business week profiles. What does that give us? Well, now we have built upon the name and liquidity amount, and we have age, we have a person's executive summary, we have their current compensation, and a number of other attributes that we can use to really establish a good rapport with the person and have a good baseline of what type of property or what type of prospect they might be. But we can do more. So within a couple of minutes, we add on to this configuration. And what we've done is we've enabled Kapow to go out and do a white pages search. And this gives us the different residences that this person might own or live in, as well as phone numbers and some other key contact information. So that provides a really good idea of, hey, you know what, this person is living in Virginia, they have a place in Puerto Rico, so maybe they might be wanting a lake vacation house. So right now we have a great amount of information, and we're already saving a tremendous amount of time because, again, this is all running behind the scenes 24/7. So what's next? Well, LinkedIn is always very important because we want to know who these leads might know if we have a mutual friend. So, you know, another sub-hour task, and we've reconfigured this Caplet to go out and do a LinkedIn search for this person to see, you know, how they fit into our network, if at all, and then add the profile of that person into our LinkedIn profile. So we remember to go back and check them out. So this is all great. This is a great lead generating machine that's automated a process that worked really well in another company. But what's the problem? Well, the problem is it's yet another application. It doesn't really fit into the salespeople's processes, the workflows. So what we do is add in a couple of more configurations. So the sales managers want to see leads tracked in Salesforce. So within 30 minutes, we add all the leads that the system finds into Salesforce so that management can see and have visibility and oversight into what's going on, as well as the value of the process. The next step we do is add in an email channel. A lot of these salespeople work in the field. They don't have access to Salesforce. And they want to be very responsive and actionable to these prospects, to these hot leads. So an email is sent out with a full dossier of all the information, including the contact information, so the salesperson can quickly act upon a hot lead. And what's more? Well, again, these salespeople, these agents, are often in the field, and sometimes they're just looking at their cell phones without monitoring the email. So we've added in an SMS text solution using Twilio so that now people get the text. If they're on the plane, if they're in the car, they can see that a hot lead popped up from the Kapow system, and that they can call an assistant or act on it accordingly themselves. So all of this is automated, and it was built in a couple of days with Kapow. Does it work? Yeah, it works really well, and we can show you a demo right now. So if we switch into our Caplets area, again, this is the hosting environment that's delivered with the Kapow platform. And a Caplet is just a mini application that runs the configurations that I just described. So here I'm in my Retrieve Qualified Leads Caplet, and I have a couple of options. These are the knobs and levers, as I say. So what I can do is I can tell the configuration, you know what, I'm selling smaller homes right now, so I can go for people that have a higher liquidity rating. And so I'll say, just give me the people that have sold $10,000 or more of options. That's good enough for me. And then I can provide a phone number of where those texts should go. And as well as that email address, I have to tell the configuration where I'm going to be and what email address is best at this moment in time. So I'll just put in my email address here. And then, you know, with these salespeople, some salespeople don't like to have leads automatically added into Salesforce so the manager can see them right away. Sometimes they want to qualify them a bit more. So we provided them with the option to turn on and off the Add to Salesforce Leads option. So we put in these very simple criteria, and I hit Start. And what I'll do is I'll switch over to the actual results right here. And so what you can see is we've provided with a list of all the qualified leads, including the recently liquid individuals. And this is just the results that that process I just described found out on the Internet. So we see that this person, Gavin Robert, he made $7,600 selling some stock. We scroll down, we see Haunting Fawns. He sold about $1.4 million. So this is great. This is a lot of good information. We got the age, the incomes. So does it work in Salesforce? Of course. Here's a couple of leads we found. I can click on Hardy K, and I can see that we have the title, the company, his phone number, the profile that we got the information from regarding his career and summary. Here's his income and age, and as well as the amount of information, data or cash he made selling his options. And here's the summary that we found through Google and Business Week. So this is a great amount of information that I can have at my disposal, and it's already baked into Salesforce for management and oversight and tracking. So I said it sends it to emails as well. So here's an example of the email that was sent to us. And for text, I can't show over the webinar, but just believe me that it's there. The text comes through just because it's so easy to configure Kapow with external systems like Twilio. So that's a simple way to automate a really good sales process. But let's go through another example. Let's use Kapow to help us predict or figure out what sales opportunities might exist out there that we don't know about. So this is a very exciting solution because what it does is it looks through our opportunities that we've already won. And then what it does is it goes out and finds similar copycat opportunities using various sites like Facebook, LinkedIn, or Zoominfo. And this is very similar to how the retailers predict and suggest products to people. So if a person in New York named Tyler just bought a vacuum because he recently bought a carpet cleaner and a new room of carpet, and Bob in California also purchased those same items, let's send a vacuum ad to him or a coupon. And 30% of the time, Bob in California will also buy that same vacuum. So we can do the same type of thing very easily with Kapow. And so what we've done is we've configured this to go, again, through our Salesforce CRM solution, scanning for all the won opportunities. And then once we have the won opportunities, what we do is we extract some key attributes from each one of those, such as the company name, the size of the company, the revenue, and the use cases that they used Kapow for. But that's not the whole story, right? There's humans in the loop in every sales process. So in order to really figure out the whole story as to why a company is advocating the use of Kapow or saw success with Kapow, we need to figure out who the key influencers were. Why did people call into Kapow? Why did people think this is great? And we want to match those roles and find those people as well. So for every one opportunity, what we do is we drill into Salesforce again and go through all the people involved in the sale as listed in the Salesforce contact list. And we'll grab the person's name, we'll grab their role, we'll grab their title, and we'll grab 2 or 3 other attributes that we found very interesting and very useful for finding copycat people. And so now that we have a list of all the won opportunities and all the people involved in those opportunities, we can easily go out and copycat that story. We can go find similar opportunities and similar leads. And we use Zoominfo. Again, we use Zoominfo, LinkedIn, Jigsaw. All these places have the data we need to make those copycat matches. So now that you kind of understand what we're doing with this customer DNA slide, let's see what it's like in real life. Well, I'll go back into our Caplets area, which you see right on the screen, and I'll click into the sales DNA. Within here, I see some more knobs and levers. Again, Caplets are easily built and easy to use. That's the whole concept. So the fields and the options are very easy for anybody to learn and use. So for this one, the minimum opportunity value, well, that's basically the type of, what's the minimum value that the one opportunity should be based on, and what should it be predicted for? Well, if I'm inside sales, this would probably be a lower number than if I was enterprise. So let's pretend I'm an enterprise salesperson. I'll just say, you know what, give me all, go through the list, and for all the opportunities that are 100,000 or more, use those as the opportunity to copycat. And the maximum, well, again, I'm inside sales, so typically that pretty much maxes out at 300. Anything beyond that is usually enterprise sales. So this is relevant to me. So I can filter out and configure the Caplet to provide information only useful to me. Check for new wins. This just says, hey, you know what, Kapow, go out and rescan Salesforce. Since it's the beginning of the year, we haven't had any sales that I know of, so I won't check that box off. Filter out companies in Salesforce. Well, this is nice because what it does is for all the copycat opportunities or leads that I find, we can have it go back into Salesforce and see if we've already contacted that company or tried to make a sale to an individual. Sometimes it's useful to see who we've already contacted and say, hey, we've already worked with your competitor. Would you be interested in rediscussing the Kapow solution? So these are the parameters I feel comfortable with. And so I'll hit start. And it's chugging. You'll see the waiting for results there. But I don't want to hold you up, so we'll switch over to the actual results that I had earlier yesterday. And what do we see? Well, the sales DNA Caplet has ran, and it's providing me a pretty good list of suggested leads. We see a lot of portal and collaboration people. We see head of information technology, a lot of CEOs, and that makes sense because we have a lot of those people advocating our use, and a lot of those people are the check writers, right? So they're part of the opportunity. So the surprising thing we saw when we first ran this was how many people in the country are related to creating, managing, or administrating, or maintaining portals. So portals is a big part of our revenue stream, and here we found, I think at last count, 75 different opportunity leads out there for individuals related to portals, configurations, maintenance, and administration. We had no idea that many portal people existed. So the Kapow right away provided some really good opportunities. Now, if we scroll down a bit more, we'll see suggested accounts. And these are the copycat accounts that the Kapow system found and suggests based on our winning opportunities. So we see Live Nation. We see the revenue, the type of industry they're in, the state and the city, as well as the size of the employees, as well as it also provide a description so the salesperson can kind of quickly glance and figure out if this is a good opportunity or not. So this is a great predictive analytics solution that really learns off of our configuration and off of the data we present in Salesforce. And so what our salespeople do is they come in and they'll run this periodically, typically once every 2 weeks or so, and just get a baseline of who would be a copycat sales win based on what they've already won before. And the beauty of this is we've already have a winning playbook, so they don't have to reinvent the wheel. They can call these people with a good use case and a good story and really accelerate the sales process. So that's 2 out of the 3 demos that we wanted to talk about today. So let's consider the third. This one is something that's very simple and yet exceedingly effective. The problem that we come across all the time is that people have a hard time figuring out how to send leads into our sales team. Well, in a matter of 20 minutes, one of our SEs in California wrote 2 caplets that does just that. It basically simplifies how people can send us leads, including employees and partners. So with the employee lead caplet, we click in, and what it's basically going to do is just say, hey, this is all our salespeople need. We need a company, a name, a last name, a phone, email, and just give us a quick description of that. When I hit start, it automatically saves the information and inserts that information into whatever back end stream process we created. So it could be routed to a Salesforce account. It could be routed directly to a sales rep through email. It doesn't matter. The important part is we just provide a simple interface to capture any of the leads. And here's a similar solution we built for partners. Partners log into the caplet, provide us these few details, and hit send, and that lead is automatically a sales pipeline, which is fantastic, and it saves us a tremendous amount of time, especially considering both of these caplets were written within an hour. So what's the takeaway? Well, we really do think that Kapow and its ability to be agile and connect to just about any web application or data source is a very important and very powerful product to use the process or to automate your process. And we know that internal and external data is just so important for salespeople these days, whether it's for lead generation, prospecting, or just to provide a solution or identify new opportunities. All that data is important, and there's just too much for humans to organize and sift through themselves. So we really do think that in order for sales processes to be effective and for sales teams to really be lucrative, in this day and age, you should automate as much as possible. And Kapow is a perfect solution for that. The third one, rapid solutions. I hope you understand that all these caplets that I showed you today were built in a matter of days. They didn't require a humongous amount of coding. They actually require 0 coding. They don't require an IT team or a development team. They're all built by the marketing or sales people. So it's very profound at how effective and how easy it is to build these caplets and configure Kapow to do what you need to do. And that's it. We try to be brief, and I think we did a good job of demoing all the applications that are relevant to sales enablement. So who is Kapow? Well, we've been around for 12 years. We're very good at retrieving and extracting data from just about any data site. We can grab legacy information from legacy systems. We can get it from the cloud, from the social networks. All of those areas we can integrate with and grab data from. We have about 600 customers. We're all our own customer, as you might have guessed by the tools that we demoed today. And we've been around, and we're ready to do custom demos. It only takes a couple of days and sometimes only hours to do a proof of concept or do a demo that's relevant to your process or use case. So really feel free to give us a call or send us an email at that email address on the screen. What's next? Well, if you're interested in Kapow and how we solve use cases from other industries and in other departments, you can check out the solutions area on our website, or you can go and schedule yourself to see some more Kapow Now live webinars, which are these 30-minute, very tight, very specific webinars that we do just about every 2 weeks. And with that, I'll hand it back over to Uriah to do some Q&A. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Tyler. So looks like we have a few questions in here. I'll give you a couple. And again, just a reminder for everyone, please enter your questions here. We'll take as many as we can. So the first one for you is really just around the sources. So, you named some explicit sources there, Zoominfo, LinkedIn, et cetera. What if I have other sources beyond those? What if I don't use the same accounts that you had? How easy is it for me to kind of pull those in and integrate those into this process?
Sure. It's extremely easy. The tools that we have built are built for analysts and non-technical users to be able to configure and grab the information. So on average, I would say after you do your first couple of configurations, you should be able to grab information and absorb the data and logic from new systems in about, anywhere from an hour to 30 minutes. So it's a very quick way to grab information, and obtaining access to those applications is very simple as well. Any other questions?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, the other one, I think you kind of alluded to it before, was, just how long did it take to kind of get these caplets turned out and really to build this whole process? And I think you might have mentioned it, but maybe just reiterate it.
Sure. So the first caplet, the first demo that we walked through, that one was 2 or 3 days of design, development, testing, and deployment. The second one we built in less than a day, and the third one, which is super simple, was built in less than an hour. And it really goes to show how quick it is to, how agile and how user-friendly and powerful the Kapow platform is for these applications to be built in that amount of time. And again, there's no coding, and there doesn't really need to be much of a design phase, so that saves us a lot of time as well.
Sure, absolutely. No, that's great. So thanks. I think that's about all the time we have for the questions. I know there's a few other good ones in here. Sorry, everyone. We'll definitely follow up with you individually just to sort those out with you. So I'd like to thank you all for joining us here today. Again, a reminder, as Tyler mentioned as well, please check out the future webinars that we have as a part of this Kapow Now webinar series. We also have the previous ones. They're archived on the website, so you can take a look there as well. And again, the point is in under 30 minutes or less, our live webinars are going to demonstrate how rapid innovation is made possible by automating data harvesting from the web. So please check out the schedule. We look forward to seeing you in future webinars. And on behalf of Tyler, thanks, and have a good day.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Uriah.